Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Wishwell Farms. My name's Jason, and today we are going to be harvesting green beans for the first time in 2025 with the OXBO BH100 one-row green bean harvester. I'm going to give you a quick rundown of how this thing works, and then we're heading out in the field to start picking because the rain is threatening and we need to get this done. So it is driven by the PTO from my John Deere 3020. By the way, this is a 1964 John Deere 3020. I use this tractor for everything on the farm. I love it. So like I said, it's a one-row harvester. We'll go around the other side here in a second. I currently have the head in the raised position. As you can see, this space right here. So I'm gonna flip that back, and now we can lower the head. That's where you keep that over on the other side in the stored position when it's unhooked. This is the discharge for all the leaves and stems. There's a really fast moving fan right here. You can probably see the paddles. So it creates a suction draft as the beans are going underneath it, and anything that's lighter than a bean, like a stem or a leaf, will come blowing out right there. The finished product will exit one of these two spouts depending on which way we have our lever, and we catch them in tubs down here. So we'll have a stack of empty tubs, and today my son will be riding back here to capture the beans as they come out of the machine. All right, we're gonna start up here in the front. So the beans will feed in right through here. If I'll lift this cover, maybe you can see inside a little better. You can see the big conveyor belt there. The beans will get flipped up onto that belt and run all the way to the back to the next belt. This is the same belt. So the beans come up through here. And I don't know if I can lift this shroud out of the way or not so you can see better. They're gonna drop off this belt onto this belt. And as they're making that transition, that's when the fan can suck out all the leaves and debris. So down here, you're gonna have everything. Beans, stems, leaves, little chunks of dirt, little rocks, anything that the picker head picks. And I'll show you what the picker head looks like here in a second. Now everything on this part of the lift will be nothing but green beans. A few leaves or stems here and there might get through, but a majority of what goes up this lift is just green beans. And then, like I said, they'll fall out of one of these two spouts here to be captured into tubs. You may have noticed I don't have a guard over these belts. I took it off one year when we were getting mud packed up in here on a muddy day when we were picking. It was building up on the tires, rubbed up against these pulleys, and it just jammed everything up. So we just leave it off. I would recommend having that guard on. We're always real careful. We're never working around those belts, but just want to let you know that's not normally what it looks like. There is a guard or a shield that goes there. All right, I'm going to show you what the picking head looks like. Take off this big cover, the shroud. So these are the actual fingers that knock the beans off the plants. It kind of resembles a hay rake, for those of you who know what hay rakes are, for raking up hay to bale hay. There is one more set of these picking fingers that goes in this position here, but you can see I have them removed. We had a weedy patch one year and the weeds were really getting tangled up right there, and I could just not get them all out. So we have found that that is not really necessary to pick your green beans thoroughly and clean. A majority of the picking happens back here anyway, because this is the high side. Any beans that are high on the plant will get knocked off by those, but the majority of the beans that are lower on the plant will get picked by these fingers here. And I suppose this brush helps knock off the beans if they happen to be sticking to the fingers as it spins around. This spins at a really high revolution. I'll show you what these things look like spinning here in a second, but they spin so fast you would think that they would damage the beans, but they don't. It does a fantastic job of knocking the beans off gently, somehow. It's like magic. I don't know how to explain it. But when you see how fast this spins, you will think, how in the world does that not snap every green bean in half or bruise them? But it really doesn't. It does an amazing job. All right, we're going to start it up. Engage the PTO. So the row of green beans goes in right here. The picking fingers sweep through the bean plant, knock off the green beans and a majority of the leaves, and then they travel through the machine. Right up through here, all the way up. It's a massive blast of air coming out of there right now. I currently just have the tractor idling. I'm going to increase the RPMs to the speed that we pick at so you can see how fast these fingers spin. This is the RPMs that we pick at. Can you believe how fast that spins? Looks like she's good to go. All right, I'm gonna put this cover back on, head out to the field, and start getting these green beans picked. All right, we're just about ready to get started. I'm waiting on my son to arrive with one of our box trucks with 20 tubs to capture the beans. So it's the same green tubs that we use for our sweet corn. We can fit about 1.3 bushels in one of these green tubs. He's gonna bring 20 over. I don't know if it's gonna be good or bad. Usually our first pick is kind of bad. There's some good spots in the field, but this first area right here I'm gonna show you looks like it's gotten some kind of chemical drift. It's the same problem I have to deal with every year because I got soybean and field corn fields all around me. So never fails, we get some kind of drift and it injures my beans. So these look very sickly. I don't even know if I'm gonna waste my time harvesting them. You can see on the hill, they're a lot darker green, and up over the hill, they get really good. It's just right here. And it might be because they got too much rain. This was flooded really bad. There's the beans we're picking. There's not a lot on these plants. I don't know, they don't look too bad. This variety here doesn't even have a name. It is a number, BA0099 or something like that. It's kind of an early bean. And they're kind of light colored. Let's go look at this other variety over here. I have some Valentino and Dark Horse over here. So whatever happened to these green beans did not happen to these. These look beautiful. This is what they're supposed to look like. I'm not worried about the weed pressure because it's not interfering with the beans, I don't believe. Yeah, these look really good. I don't know if this is Dark Horse or Valentino. There's a lot of green beans in there. Look at those. Yeah, those look gorgeous. Perfect size for harvesting. I like to snap them open and see that watery inside. Actually, there's a little hollow spot there. I want to get them picked before there's a big bean inside. I can see a little bean starting to form right there. For the most part, these look really good. Unfortunately, they don't go all the way to the other end of the field. They stop right up here about 100 feet in front of me by these horseweeds, giant ragweed. They got flooded out in that section of the field. I had to disc them all under, and that is how much grass has come up. So I need to get my disc back out here and disc that back up so I can replant that section. Fortunately, we're gonna have some decent harvesting right here, and up over the hill is a decent spot. It's definitely not gonna be one of our better harvests, but you know, at least we're getting started. Glad we're gonna have some green beans to sell at the farmers markets this weekend for 4th of July. And I'm guessing we're gonna get at least 20 tubs out of here, so that'll be about 30 bushels. Not a bad start. right, after we bring our full tubs up, we double stack them, slide them on the lift gate, up into the truck. It wasn't very good. I was hoping for 20 and we got 11 and a half. It's enough for one good farmer's market. Oh well, at least we got the ball rolling and we are now harvesting. Take a look at this. This is a dark horse. These things are beautiful. I really like that dark horse variety. And of the 3 I had out there today, this was the best one. Too bad it didn't go the whole length of the field. Actually, we don't know if these are Valentino or dark horse. They look the same. They're kind of mixed together. They look really nice. Well, it is the next day. After picking green beans yesterday, I set up our packing and wash station back here in our barn and was ready to film the process for you guys. And then I got busy doing something else and my kids weren't available at that time. So I just rolled them into the cooler and was planning on doing it this morning. And then I got busy this morning packing our trailer that's usually sitting right here that goes to our satellite location, packing up this box truck for the Hilliard Farmers Market this afternoon and cleaning out a few things in the cooler. And I completely forgot to film them washing and packing our green beans. By the time they were wrapping it up, it finally dawned on me that I didn't film it. So I apologize that I missed that process for you guys, but this is the very beginning of the season. There'll be plenty of opportunities later on to film that process for you. So we'll make sure we get it next time. However, I will throw up a couple quick scenes of us doing it last year so you can at least see what the process looks like. We have a pre-dunk tub that we dump our beans into, and then we dump them onto the lift that lifts them up, and then they spill off onto our shaker table, our vibrating table, where we pick out leaves and stems and rocks and chunks of dirt that maybe got picked with the beans by the harvester. And then they go across the shaker table, and then they spill out onto our round table where we wash our cucumbers and peppers. They gather them up, put them into 1 bushel crates that hold about 25 or 26 pounds of beans, and then we dunk them into 1 more water trough with cold well water to remove the field heat from the beans, and then we stack them on a pallet and roll them into the cooler. So there's a couple quick clips of what it looks like and how we wash and pack our green beans. I'll be sure to get it all on film for you next time. The bigger story today is not being able to go out and transplant. It's been raining all morning, and originally I thought it was just going to be a light shower, maybe hit or miss kind of thing, some light sprinkles, and that we would still be able to go out there and plant right after lunch. But it has been coming down, and I'm guessing at least a 1/4 inch, maybe a 1/2 inch. So it's going to be too smeary, too muddy out there in the fields for transplanting today, because we got broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, and Brussels sprouts busting at the seams, needing to be planted. So hopefully tomorrow and the next day we can get all that done, because I don't want to mess with it on Fridays or over the weekend. So we'll try to get that tackled here tomorrow. Maybe there is still a possibility this afternoon that we can do a little bit of transplanting, because the sun is supposed to come out for a few hours mid-afternoon, but I think the damage has been done, and I have a feeling we're going to have to wait till tomorrow to do this transplanting. Before I wrap up today's video, I wanted to show you our next green bean patch that we will be picking hopefully next week. You can see how weedy it is. It is very difficult to control weeds in green beans without spraying lots and lots of herbicides. But I think they will be ready to harvest before this grass and thistles gets too far out of control. You can see they're all in the bud stage right now. I would prefer to be seeing little beans on them, but it doesn't look like there's beans there yet. Oh, just the little ones. See that little bean right there? He's about 1 inch long. That will grow very quickly. He's probably only a week off. I was hoping to be able to pick more beans right now, because we are almost out. And for some reason, I got a pretty big gap between first planting and second planting. And you can see how weedy this patch is over here too. It's solid green beans from me all the way to my dad's field corn right there. But I'm not too concerned about the weeds. We'll have all these picked before the weeds get too tall, you know, up here like this, about 2 feet tall. Yeah, no beans on these yet. This is Valentino, all in the bud stage, so they're probably 10 days off. It looks like Dark Horse over here might be ready earlier. I normally pick our green beans on Tuesdays and Thursdays just because those are lighter days on the farm. On Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you know, we're picking tons of other crops, and it just doesn't allow for much time to harvest all the green beans and to have the crew available to help pack all the green beans, you know, wash and pack. So maybe next week on a Tuesday or Thursday, these will be ready. I sure hope so. That's all the bigger they are right now. He's about 10 days away. This is our Labor Day sweet corn. This was planted on June 21st. It's about 5 inches tall, and this should be ready for harvest the weekend prior to Labor Day. I currently have 2 more plantings after this one. One is probably an inch or 2 tall. The other one is just now germinating. And then at the end of this week, I'll be planting again, and then 2 more plantings after that one. And we will finally be wrapping up our planting season on the farm. All the sweet corn will be in the ground. And then I think I'll be planting green beans maybe once more after that at the end of July. And then, you know, just a little more transplanting. Our late cucumbers and zucchini, and it's only 2 rows of each, so that won't take very long. So here in a couple weeks, I'll be completely done planting everything on the farm, and that'll free up a lot of my time, and then I can just kind of sit back. Actually, it's not really sitting back, it's working very hard, but in my mind, I feel like I can kind of kick back and just harvest and sell. And that makes my life a lot easier when I can just concentrate on those 2 things and not have to be out hiring, out doing field prep, out planting, spraying. You know, a lot of that stuff is all done, and we just can concentrate on the really important things, harvesting and making bank. Folks, this is where we're going to wrap this one up today. As always, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I will see you all again next time down on the farm.